Hello, this is Sondra Oster Baras, bringing you a few words of Bible from the heart of Biblical Israel. This week's Torah portion is VaYerah, and it contains quite a number of very interesting and even disturbing stories. And I would like to focus on one of those stories, Abraham's decision, or Abraham's being forced to send Ishmael away, to drive him out of his home. Now, of course, Ishmael is Abraham's firstborn son. He's not Sarah's son. He's Hagar's son. He's the son of a maid that originally Sarah had suggested Abraham take this maid and have child by her. But the original idea was that it would be Sarah who would raise this child. It would be a sort of surrogate mother. And it would indeed be Sarah's child. Unfortunately, things didn't quite work out that way, which we see all along, even from the very beginning when Hagar is pregnant already. Hagar seems to lord it over Sarah, that she's pregnant and Sarah has not succeeded in being pregnant. So even before Ishmael is born, it's a bad situation. Okay, but we also know that Abraham loves his son, and to him, Ishmael is his one and only son. And when God promised Abraham that he would give the land to his children, as far as Abraham is concerned, Ishmael is that child. And in fact, when God then promises Abraham that there will be another son, that indeed his wife Sarah, his beloved wife Sarah, will bear him a son, and that his name will be Isaac, one of the first responses that Abraham has to this is that, it's not necessary. I already have Ishmael. I don't need another son. Of course, God has other plans. So it happens, Isaac is born, and it comes a time when we see, or Sarah notices, that Ishmael is being inappropriate with Isaac. The word that is actually using is mitzachek. Mitzachek means laughing, and it could be that he's mocking or teasing Isaac. Some people have read into this some sexual innuendo, which is also possible, but it doesn't really matter for our purposes. The result is that Sarah sees that Ishmael is a negative influence. He will be problematic. He's either bothering Isaac, or he could become a negative influence on Isaac, and she doesn't want him. And she goes to Abraham and she insists, you've got to get rid. She says, send forth, expel the son of this maid. Okay? She cannot, she says, this son will not inherit together with my son Isaac. Okay, now Abram is very troubled because, as I said, Ishmael is his son, and he doesn't like this at all. But then God intervenes, and God says to him, listen to your wife. Now, all of you guys out there, I love those words. God says to Abraham, listen to your wife. So you see, wives are clever. Wives have enormous wisdom. So you got to listen to your wife. But here it's very clear. This is what God wants to do. And he makes it very clear to Abraham. It is through Isaac that your children will be called. In other words, in this point, God says, not just that Sarah's right and he's problematic, but that Sarah is right when she says, he will not inherit with my son Isaac. The story here is about the inheritance, about the legacy, about Abraham's destiny to be the father of that nation who will then inherit the land of Israel, who will become the nation of Israel. And here, there's only one. It is not going to be Ishmael. It is going to be Isaac. However, God also says that he will also make Ishmael into a great nation. And this promise is then repeated. Hagar and Ishmael leave, and they go out into the desert, and they have quite a difficult time of it, and there's not enough water. And God then speaks through an angel. He speaks to Hagar, and he tells her He says, this person, he says, I will make him a great nation. This is in chapter 21, verse 18. But then he goes on to, then we learn afterwards in verse 20, that God was with the boy and he grew. So it's not just that he says, get rid of him, go off into the wilderness. He's nothing. He's not nothing. He has a destiny of his own. And God will be with him and ensure that he grows up safely. He settled in the desert, in the wilderness, and he becomes a bowman or a hunter, okay? I think what you see here is that there are two sons of Abraham, and each has its own destiny. And it is God who has decided that destiny. Isaac's destiny will be to continue the legacy of Abraham. And indeed, he is worthy of that mantra. We see as he grows up and what happens afterwards, he is loyal to God. He is a pious man. He is a successful man. And he clearly understands the importance of God's promise to Abraham and to create a nation, and the nation that will then inherit this land. Ishmael, on the other hand, is not interested. He wants power. He wants control. He wants strength. He's going to be a hunter. He's going to live in the wilderness. He is going to adopt a very nomadic lifestyle. I think there will be probably moral problems with Ishmael's descendants. But what God is saying initially is, just because he is not supposed to be part of that original promise to Abraham doesn't mean he doesn't have worth of his own. He has worth of his own, and he has a destiny of his own, and he too will become a powerful nation. And this, I think, is a perspective that we all need to embrace as we look at the situation that we face today in Israel. We view the Arabs who surround us as descendants of Ishmael. They view themselves in the same way. Okay, and if you think about Ishmael, where he went south, he went to the east, he had a nomadic life, he was a hunter. This is very much, when we think of Arab civilization, this is what we're thinking of, okay? Now, if the Arabs were to accept that this land is not theirs, but there are other lands that do belong to them, that we are the people of God, but they too have a place in God's world, there would be no issues. People today are looking for solutions to the Arab-Israel conflict, and they say the solution is Israel needs to give land. But God said himself, this land belongs to the descendants of Isaac, not the descendants of Ishmael. Ishmael needed to leave this land, and he too was going to get his land. And he got riches. I mean, just look at how much oil is in Saudi Arabia. It's amazing how much wealth and riches the entire Arab world has and how much they could do with that if they were to just understand and accept their destiny, but remain loyal and close to God. God who looked out for Ishmael and made sure he could grow and prosper. If they were to turn back to God and accept their own role, that indeed would provide us with the key to peace here in our very difficult region of the Middle East. Have a wonderful weekend. Shabbat Shalom.
I hope you enjoyed that video, and we'd like to be sure you're getting all of our video content. So just click on the subscribe button below, as well as on the notification bell, and that way you will have easy access to all our material. We look forward to staying in touch with you. God bless you, and have a wonderful day.